What do you think?
What the?
Oh, listen, he's trolling you.
Excuse me, sir. Yeah. I am a guest.
He's trolling me. Yeah, everyone's a guest somewhere.
Welcome to
Raise a guest somewhere
podcast.
Here at TGI Fridays.
We are joined by our good friend Nombies. How you doing, man?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. We're going to be doing a scene from the movie before we start. All right, we're doing a scene from Idiocracy, the courtroom scene. Is everyone ready?
Scene begins with you, my guy, Nombies.
Hold on.
Are you ready for some justice? Who says the crowd goes crazy?
No, he's going to read the notes.
JC,
I have to read the notes?
No.
I do. Let's start again. Let me start again. Okay. Interior, courtroom, day. The courtroom is a mess, like a rundown inner-city public school classroom. There's garbage everywhere, graffiti. The flag is lying on the floor in a heap. An audience of rowdy spectators waits for the trial to begin. The crowd jeers as Joe is wheeled in a cage. A pumped-up bailiff in tights walks in with a microphone. He whips up the crowd like an announcer at a wrestling match.
Are you ready for some justice?
The crowd goes crazy.
The crowd goes crazy.
No.
Because we got a Prag-talking Pragpro who thinks we ought to pay his hospital bills. Do you want to pay his hospital bills?
Hell no!
Hell no!
Joe gets hit with a milkshake.
I can't hear you!
Hell no.
The judge enters. He is surprised and frightened by the noise of the courtroom. He bangs his gavel until everybody shuts up. When he speaks, he seems to be making up big-sounding words as he goes along. He has the stupid confidence of a man who's never encountered anyone smart enough to correct him.
Now, since y'all say you ain't got no money, we have proprietarily obtained you one of them court-appointed lawyers.
Joe's lawyer enters. It's none other than Frito, the fat guy whose apartment he crashed into. You're my lawyer? Diz opens up a greasy paper bag and pulls out a bunch of crumpled, stained legal briefs. He looks them over.
So, it says here you robbed a hospital? Why'd you do that?
I'm not guilty. Frito shakes his head.
That's not what the other lawyer said.
What the other... Listen, you've got to put me on the stand. I can explain everything. We can take them to your house, show them the pod I came in. The judge starts banging his gavel.
Y'all shut up now. I'm fixing to commensurate this trial here.
Everyone shuts up.
Okay then, we're gonna utilize the process of deliberation, examining the various puptitudes of this individual and see if we can't come up with the verdict up in here. Now, why do you think he done it?
The prosecutor stands. He has a stoned surfer accent. He's wearing a t-shirt that reads, "Lawyer do it," in front of a judge. Who's prosecutor?
Nombies.
I'm the prosecutor to the bailiff and the prosecutor?
Yes.
That's a lot of power. So, yeah. Okay, number one, Your Honor, just look at him.
The whole courtroom boos and laughs at Joe. Boo!
Boo!
Boo. We got all this evidence about, this guy, didn't pay at the hospital, okay? $6 billion. And I heard he doesn't even have his tattoo. And I'm all, you gotta be shitting me. But check it out, man. Judge be like, guilty. Peace.
The prosecutor sits down, proud of himself, as the crowd starts clapping. Joe looks around at everyone, clapping and shouting at him. Please, let me explain what happened. Frito stands indignantly and slams his fist down on the table.
Objection.
The court quiets down. Everyone looks at Frito. Joe is pleasantly surprised, a beat.
What are you objectifying on?
Frito looks unsure for a moment. Come on, just put me on the stand.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Your Honor, I object this guy also broke my apartment.
What?
Yeah, Your Honor, and I object he's not going to have any money to pay me after he pays for all the money he stole from the hospital.
Don't say I stole. You're my lawyer. The crowd starts to boo Joe.
Boo. And I object to be interrupted me when I was watching Ow My Balls.
Aww.
This is the last straw for the crowd. They start throwing junk at Joe. Joe stands. Okay, Okay, Your Honor, I think we have a mistrial or something.
I'm gonna mistrial my foot up your ass. You don't shut up.
Everyone, including the judge, cracks up. The court is filled with gales of big, stupid laughter. Please listen.
Please listen.
The court cracks up again. Frito leans over and high-fives the prosecutor. I didn't steal anything. I was part of an army experiment hundreds of years ago. Something must have went wrong. There was a girl, too. The crowd starts shouting Joe down. The judge scribbles some notes on a computerized OmniPower tablet and frowns at the results. Then he bangs on his gavel until he has silence.
All right, easy, everyone. Now, sissified individual makes a bunch of good points about the allegations of what transgressed at the particular time. So I believe.
Joe hangs on the judge's every word. A long, tense beat. The judge thinks. The court leans forward. Joe's future hangs in the balance. The judge stands. He paces, thinking intensely. He stops, his back to the court.
My verdict?
The judge drops his pants. Angle at judge's ass. Guilty is scrawled across it. The crowd explodes. Joe miserably bangs his head on the table. That's you, bailiff.
He's going to
Crowd joins in.
Prison.
Joe, miserable, looks at the screaming crowd. Bailiffs grab Joe roughly and haul him off. End scene. Jesus Christ.
That was not in the fucking movie.
No, that was not in the movie.
It's a bonus.
Bro.
First, I am highly disappointed that we did not, better seize that opportunity to have guilty written across one of our asses for that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a definite missed opportunity there.
That was on me.
Yeah, we fucked up.
Yeah.
We fucked up big time. So, if everyone hasn't worked out what movie it is, I mean, I said it at the start, but we're talking about Idiocracy today. I was just wondering, Nombies, why did you pick Idiocracy of all the movies?
So I wrote a list of movies down that I wanted to do. Idiocracy was one of them because I had recently watched that and showed it to somebody else. Not like out of like any point or purpose, just kind of the scrolling, like, what do you want to watch? And I came across that. I'm like, yo, have you ever seen this? Like, this movie is like super relevant even nowadays, even though it came out in like the early 2000s. And I guess it was mid 2000s. But I thought it was funny, really approachable for a lot of people. If somebody hasn't seen it yet, it kind of gives you all the opportunity to kind of share that with you as well. I think it's really funny. It's a really quirky,
really weird. Yeah, it's a good concept.
Yeah, it's really weird.
For a
I like it.
comedy movie.
I like it a lot. I like the slight wrestling references they make in that movie. Big wrestling guy. So
Camacho.
Yeah, I know Time's gonna
great Camacho.
really enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
Is this a film that you saw as a kid, or is this something you more recently watched?
Well, sir,
like
unfortunately, at that point in time in the lovely year 2006, I was no longer a child. I was a man, a manly man, and I hadn't seen that when it first came out or anything. I first saw this movie in 2010, and I was really high with a couple buddies in Colorado, and they just had this playing on the DVD player, and it's just kind of a classic to me almost. I've seen it 3 times now. Most recently was like earlier this year, and I just enjoy this movie a lot. I feel like it's got a lot of relevance. It always just kind of holds the test of time.
Well, in some respects, in other respects, it's a little.
But had you seen this movie prior to me like bringing this up at all?
No,
all three of
That's a
you?
good question.
That's a great
I can
question.
tell you.
Yeah.
I can tell you what I think. This is one of those movies that used to always be on like VH1 in the afternoon or MTV, like when they had like that period of time when they didn't really have programming and they just like ran Happy Gilmore. It's like one of those cable USA network movies that's on all the time. And this movie always surprised me that it could have been really pedestrian, but I think there's a lot of refinement to the jokes and everything because of Mike Judge. I think he did an amazing job writing this, and I'm kind of jealous of the script, to be perfectly honest. It's so concise, 96 minutes.
Yeah,
it builds world building, amazing world building.
Like this.
It moves. There's a whole world that feels lived in, that they built mostly with like fine art. It looks like a lot of painting and stuff like that.
I feel like characters are developed, very quickly in that movie as well. Like you just kind of were able to make it kind of a relation or a connection, with being in the times that they were, being transported to a different time. Like it was really cool. I mean, anything that Mike Judge has ever put out, like I've always been a huge fan of. Beavis and Butthead, Daria, King of the Hill,
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, banger after banger. The guy's, I enjoy his sense of humor and his approach to, even just like real worldy kind of things. Like King of the Hill, they had the death of Buckley, and seeing how people related to death, or how people dealt with death was a thing that was kind of like underhandedly kind of approached in that show. And yeah,
he's got a lot of heart, and he has full characters that are not one-dimensional. I mean, even on Beavis and Butthead, there's lore and canon for Beavis and Butthead. There's you feel like there's a differentiation between each individual that Mike Judge makes, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and Mike, I was kind of surprised because I didn't really watch a lot of like adult cartoons when I was younger. I like the worst I probably watched was maybe Futurama. So because I was a little bit sheltered.
No Simpsons.
Yeah. I was a little bit sheltered in that way, but
Simpsons?
Unfortunately,
you didn't get the
we
Simpsons?
watched the Simpsons. We got the Simpsons.
Family Guy.
We watched the Simpsons. No Family Guy. No.
Oh God.
When'd you come across like South Park?
That wasn't my decision. I haven't watched South Park. Yeah. Wasn't
what?
Oh,
girl.
This man. You're gonna tell me this man here has a Gorillaz shirt on, but has not seen like animated classics like South Park.
Though, but it's not his fault. But we have to fix that.
Yeah, it's not. It's your guys' fault, actually.
I didn't know until right now that he hasn't seen it. I don't know. He has to make a list, and we'll take him to a video store or something. I don't know.
I thought you guys were like super close or something. You're gonna tell me you're gonna let your boy just sit out there and not have seen South Park? He never felt.
Only since you've been here has he felt comfortable enough in a setting to allow us to know that he hasn't seen South Park. And so we're trying to work through this and love each other through it like a family.
Yeah, we are. Like presents.
I want to hear what Time Goes to Waste thinks about did he encounter this too?
I saw this movie probably like 10, 15 years ago, and I hated it. I thought this movie was fucking stupid as hell. A friend of mine made me watch it, and I was so fucking mad that he made me watch it because I was like, "This is stupid." And then he kept quoting it, and I'm like, "You're dumb. This is such a stupid fucking movie." And then one day, someone just brought up prior to this, someone brought up, "Hey, the movie Idiocracy, like it's real life. Like they were telling the future."
Yeah.
And I thought about it, and I go, "Oh shit, they're right." And then I don't know why that made me appreciate it more. And then I was like, well, I'll go back and watch it one day. And then, I have the opportunity to watch it now. And I liked it a lot more than I think back then I hate watched it because I didn't want to watch it. My friend.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that can happen. And you don't give it a chance, really.
I'm a huge fan of Mike Judge's stuff. I didn't know he did Daria, which is crazy, but I did like Daria.
Daria's awesome.
And then cinematographer made Little Miss Sunshine. So he had a legit cinematographer who has worked on it like the other Mike Judge films. And so it was beautifully shot. And I like that, the computer graphics were not as great as they are now in 2006. And I don't know if they use CGI, but it felt like some of it was like painted or something, like the trash cities.
Matte painted.
Matte
paintings. Yeah.
It's like, and then it seems like it felt like he had a cast of 1,000 in this movie too, because like every scene was filled with the density required to show a dystopia. Because you can't really have a dystopia with empty spaces, because that's what makes it a dystopia. It's overcrowded. And I think they did this movie was a lot better than it should have been with that budget, probably.
Absolutely, yeah.
The cast was great too.
So a scene that really resonated with what you said, Prag, it brings me back to when they're in the warehouse and like just seeing just how long these aisles went, and there's just people just all over about. It went super long. It was super tall, and like inside there you're just a little tiny ant, but they had a shot that was like super drawn out, and you can kind of see the spans of it, and all the people just look like little trickling little ants in there. Like the attention to detail in this, I think, is I don't know, just like the trash, just trash getting piled up. And if you think about, like, if nobody actually goes and picks up that trash, you will definitely have like little snowshoes.
And, especially it's all plastic. Artificial things that don't decompose. And there is a trash crisis in the world that people don't even understand, because what they do now is they just send it to the third world. They take all the plastic from the north and they send it to the south to this day.
It's amazing how,
in the ocean.
And then it ends up in the ocean. That's where it ends up, right? Because what are they going to do with it?
Ocean.
What's really funny is this reminded me of the world in WALL-E. Have you seen WALL-E?
I love like WALL-E. That's one of my favorite Disney movies, to be perfectly honest. I love that one.
Hellscape of WALL-E, but the art direction in this film, I don't know if you guys know the artist Damien Hirst. He's often very disparagingly regarded in some ways, but he's more like some of like just the way I think he did the album cover for Drake's Certified Lover Boy, the one with the ladies are all pregnant, the emojis for them all pregnant. Just like the art direction really reminds me of his work. Like I know he has there's one where
physical impossibility of death. It's a great white shark like
in a
glass.
Tank. Yeah. There's another one where he basically has a cabinet and it's filled with medicine, and it's all color coded in colors, like just the weirdest shit that all
for the love of God,
like hyper capitalist stuff.
This is dull diamonds and jewels.
He's basically making fun of hyper capitalism.
This is amazing. I love this.
Like
I'm gonna screenshot this. I'm gonna make it looks like a lucha libre made out of encrusted in diamonds.
You should see his there's a hotel room that costs like it's the most expensive hotel room in the US, and it's all designed by him.
He's like a modern day Warhol, right?
Exactly. Very bizarre.
And so what is a pop artist trying to do? They're trying to reflect the culture, not because all artists are reflecting culture, but more particularly the society back on itself. Like that particular Western society. Like if he was living in a different nation, his art might look different because the pop culture, the commercial culture would be different. It's about commercialism. And like taking it and turning it back into art. Like art goes through a machine and comes out like that, and then he's trying to put it back through the same machine through the reverse.
And why this film kind of evokes that for me is like just the way the shirts are designed with the running everyone's shirts has running what's it called, logos on them and everything. It just reminded me of that.
How everybody was named with a corporate slogan. Like they had naming rights onto your branded last name. Like branded naming. Like I thought that's
Frito.
Like wild, dude.
And it was pointed out
Nombies, Mountain Dew, like
the shirts they had in like the 2000s were had branding all over the front of them, like those bum outfits you were mentioning, and like bigger if you buy a Nike shirt, it was like you had a giant swoosh on your face, right?
Or just all the way across your chest, like just very large logoing, large and unnecessary. Or remember like the what was it, the wetsuits and like life safety jackets? It was Body Glove, and it had the palm onto your back, and you go up and just slap people's backs, like that kind of logoing. It was just big in your face, like you knew that this guy had a Nike thing or a Reebok. British Knights, that's the throwback right there.
British Knights.
It was all very big logoing.
I love that Idiocracy got something right, in that the politicians had to wear their corporate sponsors on their apparel, their suits, and I think that we should sign that into law tomorrow. I would love to know that, and people could just take a quick look and see Monsanto and say, "Oh, okay, I know where you're coming from."
I mean, they should have the whole entrance music that Camacho came in. I fucking love that.
Love Camacho.
That's how that is nowadays, dude, though, like think about it. Like wrestlers and everything are starting to become like super active in politics, and I don't want to keep going down that road, but like there was like a big push for like The Rock to go out in there and run.
Oh,
Yeah, but what made this society dumb
back there, you know, time
that
like
instead of leadership, what counts for leadership in the society is anger and animosity and like force, and you know, it's like, and anyone who's like trying to convince you or speak any other way is like, they don't even listen to them anymore, and that's what makes an idiocracy, is they stop reasoning with one another.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting that not really ever like touched is like, it's like, especially it's like a lot of fanfare and show nowadays, and like I hate to relate it to this, but like if you think of like how politics are nowadays and compare it to 1999 Attitude Era WWF, like it just like the drama, the stuff, it's like what's happening next, what's doing this, and like you know,
same shit.
You know, and it's all just trying to get people to, you know, pull towards a character or pull, you know,
right. JC Disney Romans called this bread and circuses, and try to keep the people appeased with cheap like food that was not nutritious and like spectacle. So they're distracted and they can't organize and they can't change their lives in a better way working together. That's the whole point. If you're looking at a show, you can't look at your brother and try to solve a problem because you're distracted.
Not to mention, like, their vocabulary is like highly reduced in the future in this world. In here, it's very, very similar to like something Orson Welles would write about in 1984.
And their attention spans overall too. Like, like Dax Shepard's character,
when he first showed him watching TV,
and he got there, and then he stopped, and then he just sat there blank faced because he didn't know what to do.
The Star
just baiting, and all the shows are like about baiting. I'm in here baiting. Come back later. It Kicked in the Balls is the #1 show, right? It's the guy.
My balls.
How my balls. But all those bits could have not worked if the writing wasn't good and the jokes, and Dax Shepard was. We should talk about the actors, because I think Luke Wilson, Dax Shepard, Maya Rudolph, who's always underrated and amazing, beautiful actress. Actors.
I don't like Luke Wilson. I don't like Luke Wilson, but I liked him. I loved him in this.
Why don't you like Luke? See, somebody told me they didn't like Luke Wilson before, and I want to hear why you don't like him.
I feel like okay, and I'm speaking on the sense of just movie roles, right? And the roles that he's filled, and he does a good job, but it's like he couldn't afford whoever they were actually looking for. So it's like, okay, we got to settle for this guy. I mean, he does a good job. I'm not saying he's a bad actor, but it's just like, I just see him, and like the character, it just feels like he's just kind of like slightly out of place. But this role that he fit here was just like, dude, that's perfect.
I like him in Bottle Rocket.
He looks like the typical army guy. Like he looks like, he fits that role, and that's it just fits the character so well.
The other brother got unlocked too. I didn't know they had a third brother.
What's that?
The Wilson brother.
The last guy, that's Owen and Luke Wilson's brother. Right. The what's his name? Meat Sauce or something. The final boss when you're in the arena. That's their brother.
That's the other Wilson.
I keep forgetting.
That's the other Wilson. We unlocked a new Wilson skin.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either. I'm like, who's this guy? I'm
coming out now.
What's really funny is Luke Wilson. He says "wow" in this movie, and he says it exactly like Owen Wilson does. It's so funny.
Wow. Listen, Owen Wilson. Everyone do your Owen Wilson. Wow. That's great.
Wow.
That's why he works though, and the other two don't, because he has that little voice thing, right?
But he's also just like the more recognizable brother of the two.
He's got that ski slope nose, right?
Yeah. That's really funny, his nose. But what I wanted to say was Maya
Terry
Rudolph.
Crews. Maya Rudolph.
Terry Crews.
Yeah.
Terry Crews fucks so hard, dude.
Terry Crews fucks.
So cool.
That's for sure.
Fucks hard.
Office linebacker. Maya Rudolph, though.
Yeah, she's married to Paul Thomas Anderson. Did you know that?
She what? She's married to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Office linebacker and Terry Crews are two different people, dude.
They're not the same guy?
No.
Terry Crews doesn't play office linebacker.
No.
In what?
Oh my god.
Terry Tate is not Terry Crews.
I got Mandela affected right now because I misremembered the truth.
Is that what you want to call it?
Yeah, because it's like no, not mandala. You know, like a Indian tapestry. That because everything looks the same. People think it's the Nelson Mandela effect. No, it's the mandala effect. And this is your racism coming through.
Are you sure it's Mandela or is it mandala?
I like to say mandala
Or mandala.
You know what? Everyone in chat.
I think you just confuse one black guy.
Can we get a poll from Mandela or Mandala? Mandela or Mandala by the end of the show.
Nelson Mandela, right?
Look, I get it. All
yeah, but I've also heard
mandala,
which have you ever seen that? Look up mandala. It's a tapestry with mirror images.
But that's not what it was named after, though.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm asking. Don't you understand? I'm just asking.
Well, you should ask. It wasn't named after that.
But which is it?
I shouldn't ask. How am I supposed to gain information if I don't ask? I don't know.
It's the Mandela Bay effect.
These topics and others covered in Ghost Monsters Live.
Yes, Mr. JC.
The Mandela effect was named after?
I was concerned that it might have been mandala. And maybe, but that makes sense too. So I got a little. I guess I'm finding out right now for the first time.
He just started the conversation.
Okay, I know because Nelson Mandela was released from Robben Island. People misremember the chain of event that he died, and he was the president.
He did die, though. He did die.
I know who Nelson Mandela is, kids. Don't you think I was around during apartheid? You
know
guys.
How to pronounce his name.
Mandela.
Someone who opposed apartheid. What do you guys are crazy right now? I'm giving me Nelson Mandela notes.
I think we should have more apartheid.
Welcome to Three Grandmas Yapping About Nelson Mandela. We're going to talk about the
I don't think we have enough
ANC. You want to talk about the African National Congress? We can get deep into Joseph Mobutu. I can talk about South Africa for a second. We can talk about Invictus. That was a wonderful Clint Eastwood rugby film. What are we talking about?
I'm just realizing how much this movie has in common with Wall-E, like the whole plants growing thing, like proving to people that plants grow, and it's very similar. I'm just thinking about it now. The trash.
Which came first?
This movie, Idiocracy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love that they were feeding the plants They were feeding them Gatorade.
That's what the plants crave.
It's what the plants crave. But what's an electrolyte? It's what plants crave. Why? Because it's electrolytes. That's how they build it. I love the cabinet. The cabinet in this movie, like they have a kid, and then they have that one guy who's just making a face the whole time, looking in the wrong direction. He's a wonderful actor.
And the guy that keeps he's presented by, or he's sponsored by Carl's Jr. and he keeps mentioning Carl's Jr.
I love a physical comedy. It's physical comedy. It's like slapstick stuff too that they integrate into it.
But there's some fantastic sight gags as well, like when he's in the prison and they're hauling the boulder behind him. It's just this enormous boulder moving behind him towards the wall, and then he just gets dragged off. It's brilliant. There's so much good stuff.
Yeah, when they were taking the IQ tests and he's looking at the other guy and he covers it up. He's like, "Stop cheating!" Like,
this is so
cheating. Like, oh my god.
Amazing, yeah. So Mike Judge, I'm surprised though because obviously I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but I've heard a lot about him.
You guys have homework.
Yeah, I know. I've heard a lot about him, and I've always wanted to watch Beavis and Butthead and South Park and everything he's been involved in. It just like hasn't gotten around to me yet. But I was surprised
just do Mike Judge month, man. Mike Judge month, just like each one.
I was surprised how little he's done in the film sphere. Like, obviously, he had his big film break with Office Space. Like, that's his big one that everyone talks about. Did he get nominated for Best Screenplay for that? Or am I crazy?
Hell no. Maybe he got an MTV Music Award, Film Award, one of those. But no, he gets no respect to this day, which is kind of crazy. But they pay him like he gets respect. I'll tell you what, he has exclusive deals with these streaming platforms. I remember Paramount gave him a nutball deal to bring back Beavis and Butthead. I think it was Paramount. So they pay him, and he must be he must doctor scripts. If I'm not, I would be shocked if he's not like behind the scenes script writing a lot.
I mean, Silicon Valley was huge and launched so many, like Thomas Middleditch's career, launched Kumail Nanjiani's career, and a bunch of dudes. So, like he's been instrumental in a lot of stuff. In terms of Hollywood, and so
King of the Hill was big for him. I remember Greg Daniels from The Simpsons, and they used to have a block: Simpsons at 8:00, King of the Hill always after, like 60 minutes before. That was Sunday. for many years. Married with Children, I think, was on that, like, the old Fox routine.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed this film. I feel like the way that it's structured, like, it's very obvious that, I mean, it moves like a quick pace. But I feel like the way they structured it when they were writing it is they had a scenario, and then they wrote that scene, and then they were like, how can we move to they got another scenario, we need to move to that scene, and then do that scene, and then they wrote another scenario, and they had to just connect the dots, because it feels like one skit, next skit, next skit, like the trial, and then the prison scene, and then the when they're in the White House, like the White House scene. Like, it's a lot of scenes all stitched together, like, and that's why it moves like a breakneck pace, because as soon as they're finished with one skit, they move to the next skit, and then when they're finished with that skit, they move to the next skit. And I think it works. Like, it's just a really, because they've got a fresh idea for each scene. I think it's really well handled, the way they move through the film, if that makes sense. I mean, hands down my favorite performance in the film is Justin Long as the doctor. As the doctor, like, there's plenty. I mean, I don't want to say it, but there's plenty of those out there, and they're living wonderful lives. My first wife. Yeah. I was losing it at his.
You gotta tell the audience what the doctor did, because they don't know.
I can't say it.
You have to say it, because you brought it up, and this is what we do here.
2006, man. Actually, I picked a movie that's old, so like I feel like after 10 years, like,
clean it up. Come on, JC, clean it up and say it in a way that
bring it home.
Passable. You can try. We'll give you a couple minutes to think about it.
That's all right. But I do want to say that I loved his performance in that scene. I think he's hilarious, and just the way he sold the.
He would what did he diagnosed him, and then Luke Wilson would say something, and he goes, "You're talking kind of praggy there."
Yeah, exactly. And he came in, and it's just like, and I didn't realize that he was the doctor until I read his name tag. Like,
oh, okay.
Like, just the way that he presented himself was like so hilarious in that scene. I just think there's so many great small performances as well. Like you were talking about the other Wilson brother, and who else showed up in the film?
The thing I liked too, and like it was, I guess, I don't know if you consider
Andrew Wilson was great in it at the end. I thought he was wonderful.
Yeah, that's what he brought up.
The last brother. Yeah,
brother. Yeah. The thing I liked, and I don't know if you consider it part of like the world building, but obviously everyone's dumb, and the society's dumbed down. But I like that they didn't go like the route of, hey, just act dumb, just walk into a building, against a building, or someone starts, eating dirt, whatever. Like, it made sense.
Match the environment.
Yeah, it's like people were driving, and they knew how to drive, but they weren't like crashing into each other, or whatever.
Right.
But
they knew how to survive.
But then when the car stopped, when the the government or technology it stopped that guy's car, and the police came out, they just shot up the car.
Yeah.
And it started exploding, and the whole crowd was like, "Yeah,
like every violence."
It was so
everything.
funny.
That sight gag of the plane falling down on the right, like, and exploding. Yeah. Oh, it killed me.
And then Dak Shepard is cheering the explosion of his own car too, because he loves the spectacle, right?
Yeah. They're just like they're just id. The ego, super ego, and id is just the id personified as these guys.
That's your car, and he's like, "Yeah, get it,
yeah."
It's like, I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
Yeah,
which is a true commentary. He's been like conditioned.
I also thought the relationship between Luke Wilson's character Joe and what was her name, the prostitute,
Rita. Terrible that you can't remember.
Was it Rita?
Yeah.
Rita. I think it's Rita.
Rita. Yeah, that's right. I thought their relationship was really cute, like surprisingly cute.
It was very courtly.
Yeah. The fact the whole running gag that he doesn't realize that she's a prostitute, and he thinks that she's just selling art.
Yeah, an artist.
Every time you need a better art manager.
Yeah, maybe one time his boyfriend.
Maybe you just need a better art manager.
It's such a good running gag. It's just sweet.
When I was watching the movie, or about to watch it, I had told Flame, my girlfriend, I told her about the movie, and she goes,
wife.
wife, whatever. She goes, do you think I'd like it? Because every time I watch a movie, primarily she watches with me, or I'll tell her, you're not gonna like this movie, and she'll go do whatever. But I was like,
wait. Can't she decide whether she likes the movie?
No,
we've
been together for 20 years. I'm pretty sure I know what her likes.
That's fair. All right, I understand that. I'm not going
to. Did you let her watch this? Or not let her. I mean, that's really shitty to say. But
that's so crazy.
Like, did you guys end up watching it together? I guess. Did she?
I told her. Yeah. Did she let me let her? Yeah. I was like, I gotta go. I don't think you're gonna like it. It's I was like, did you like Office Space? And she's like, I don't remember that movie. I go, okay, well, it's hilarious, but it's like that. I was like, I don't know. You might like it, maybe. I don't know. It's pretty dumb, from what I remember. So then she goes, I'll give it like 15 minutes. I said, okay. So she sat down and we're watching it as it's going. I can tell she's just not enjoying it at all.
Yeah,
but she sat down and watched it the entire time.
The pace is so good. That's why that's a good writer, because the pace is so good that even if you don't like fuck with it, it's like it's so easy to eat. It's like so edible.
But we're watching it, and this is what I was going to bring up. She goes, they get to the scene where they put him in the pods, and they're like, "Oh, we'll wake you up in a year." And she goes, "I thought you said it was in the future." I go, "Yeah, it is in the future. I'm just not sure how they get to it."
I thought it was time travel, but...
and then the army guy gets popped for a prostitution ring, and they forget about the whole project.
Right, and then. But you understand, this movie is the same as 1973 Sleeper by Woody Allen. I don't know if you heard of that one, JC.
No.
Let me read the.
How do we always mention Woody Allen?
Because this is a Woody Allen podcast. The film involves the misadventures of an owner of a health food store who is cryogenically frozen in 1973 and defrosted 200 years later in an ineptly led police state. And it's also based on like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin. But yeah, obviously Mike Judge was inspired by that movie Sleeper. Which you guys I'm old and you guys have no idea what I'm talking about. That was old for me. I was born in 1973, so I was 0 when it came out. So don't send any letters to me.
I mean, I feel like there's a heap of influences. Like you can look at Brazil as well. Terry Gilliam's Brazil and stuff like that. But it feels like Mike Judge wanted to make a film like that, but also make it an accessible comedy that he's so good at. So infusing those two elements, it's like it's a really weird piece of art, I think. Especially for the mid 2000s pop culture and. I mean, I mention it. I feel like I mention Southland Tales every year, and I got a lot of Southland Tales vibes from this as well. Just Richard Kelly's like.
I haven't seen Southland Tales.
Making fun.
One
of
day we'll watch it.
2000s Bush era. Yeah,
I want to know how you sit though, like that. I like that. It's like a pirate pose when you get the watch. I love it. How do you do that?
This French lady pose, dude.
Just chilling.
Maybe like one of your French girls.
Oh, shit. Cold Maxon. This is how you podcast. That's how CuteBot sits. Kind of. Like she's perched. Shout out CuteBot. She's watching. Hi.
Should I start a dating show?
Hi, Kiana. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Is it dating show time for me? 3 grandmas dating.
I would love to see you on CuteBot more recently. I think you've updated your look. You're shredded from swimming. I want to talk about your tan. I want to talk about your muscles. I want to talk about how healthy you look.
And I want to talk about what a shredded.
Compared to when you started the work swimming at the pool, you look great. You just look wonderful.
And
you didn't look bad.
I'm teaching swimming, so I'm mostly just standing, dude.
But it's still physical, and you're working with kids, and you're moving and jamming in the water. You can't, and you get a beautiful, even with what do they call that little outfit that they make you wear? The rashy. Even with the rashy, yeah. I mean, you're tan and you look great. I'm just saying.
Look, I'm not even in the sun. It's an indoor pool. I don't know
because you're walking from the car to the pool, and like you're giving the other swim instructors high fives out in the sunshine.
High-fiving. Yeah.
Can you just accept the compliment in the spirit of peace and love that it was provided?
It means a lot
to me. It's like the volleyball scene in Top Gun,
Yeah.
Did you watch Dark last week? I want to find out a little mini review of last week's episode.
I watched a little bit of it.
You don't watch your own show. That's so cringe.
I watched a little bit of it. I think it went well. You guys talked about the movie and then talked about other stuff.
Because That's what people want. We're doing both.
And then you talked about me for half of it, and then
because we missed you. Of course, we talked about you.
Yeah,
that's not because we don't
that's
like
so
you. That's
nice.
because we do like you.
Thank you.
It's about building rapport with the audience, and sometimes you have to divert from this just the review, because they can just get a 30-second review. They can read it, they can look at the stars, but once they get to know us, then they're going to value our opinion. And that
Are you saying we should open the lines? Is that what we're doing?
It means build. It's like
Open
you have to. This is the audience. This is JC, and it's like open the lines. No, we don't have any lines. That's another thing.
Let's get it going.
There's just Dark BMX in the chat. Like,
no,
where's Lance?
No Dark. He's
come in here.
Remember Lance from Saints? He used to be in all of these shows. He used to watch our show
all the time.
He used to chat, and now it's like, oh, I'm doing big shot deals. Sorry,
dude. He's a major Channel 9 celebrity now. So like,
oh my god, I almost forgot. Welcome to Channel 9, Lance _from.
He joins Channel 9 and then does not.
Forgot the second underscore. There's 2 underscores in Lance from Saints, man.
Just so you know, this podcast is not affiliated with Channel 9.
From
not sponsored.
Another underscore.
Turn off JC's mic.
Association with
Saints.
Zero association with Channel 9.
It has some association because I'm on it and I'm from Channel 9, so you're just gonna have to love and live with it.
I don't mind.
We're just shouting out Lance, who is going to be a guest in December. Let's bring it back to our pod. I agree. Let's talk about the movie more. We'll talk about Lance when he's here in the winter for his appearance.
I was watching this movie.
The correct thing to do on stream is always talk about Lance.
Always
we did that.
Lance.
So we're done with that.
We got Lance out of the way.
Let's talk more about this fun movie that we watched.
What I was gonna say was, people before I watched Idiocracy, all I ever heard about Idiocracy was, oh, this movie's a documentary. Oh, this movie's a documentary. It's basically telling the future. And I'm just looking at. I was watching the movie. I was like, sort of. I can see why people would say that, but then I'm looking at this picture behind time of.
It's true. It's fucking true.
It's so true. Like Jesus, it's kind of crazy, like how
he's got the gigantic logos, like
yeah,
there it is.
Crazy.
That's the only thing that's missing, but it should be a thing. The logos on in the politics.
I agree.
The only thing that's missing.
I agree.
Sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Campaign finance reform now.
Do Wendy's, McDonald's, Camacho.
I can do 3 to 4 hours on campaign finance reform, but that's not why you're here.
Was there anything else that stuck out to you in this film, Prag? Scene wise, is there anything that made
policy
you laugh?
In general?
Yeah, I like the part when the company that made the Gatorade bought the FEC and the SEC. So what they did is they bought this.
Yeah.
Right, they bought the Securities and Exchange Commission, so that allowed them to trade the way they want. And they bought the Communications Commission, so that and that shit happens constantly because how do they buy it? They do it inadvertently through soft money and donor trips and cute little revolving door situation where you work for a congressman for 8 years and then you go to the FDA and then you go back out to industry. And so that shit happens and we need to stop it. It's not good for anybody and it fucks up policy.
Hard money.
And it makes people not want to participate. This is the reason why people don't want to participate, because they say, this is such a fucking mess. I don't even know where to start to clean it up.
What I want to know is, because they started using water for the crops and then half of the employees of the Gatorade company were laid off.
Yeah.
How long were they watering plants with Gatorade until before they started dying? Like, it was just like years and years and years, and they only just started like.
It makes you wonder what were they eating?
Yeah. What were they eating?
Right, because I didn't really. Yeah, but what was?
There's no beef. McDonald's.
How do you grow beef without water? Oh, they were feeding the cows Gatorade.
Yeah. That was some sweet
beef.
It was
just beef.
Would you like a big ass order of a taco?
Paleo diet, bro. That's good news.
Industry, like half of the Gatorade company, was obviously used to watering plants because as soon as they switched to water, all of those workers got laid off.
Water?
Well, because they owned everything.
Like in the toilets. Toilet?
I think that the Gatorade company, whatever I can't remember what it was called, but the Gatorade company basically was the only company. It was a monopoly of all things. So it employed half the people because they did everything. They didn't just use the Gatorade, right?
Yeah.
Brondo. Yeah. Brondo, thank you.
And Dax Shepard, like every single scene he's in, he steals the scene. I feel like every single scene.
He's underrated, right?
I don't.
Yeah.
What? Oh, here we go. Let's get into it. That's why we're here.
So I don't keep up on ratings.
I have a very
go ahead. Tell me about that. Why don't you like him?
Because he's married to Kristen Bell.
What?
Okay,
what's wrong with
that
Christian
mean?
Bell? I love Christian Bell.
Kristen
Bell. Oh,
you're jelly.
Okay. She's a cutie.
Are you a Veronica Mars fan?
I've never seen Veronica Mars.
You're a good
girl. If you like her, you better watch.
You're a Good Place fan,
girl.
I love Good Place. Good Place is a great movie.
Yeah.
But the best looking person on that show is
she's too fuddy duddy for me. I'm not. Listen, I love you, Kristen, but you're just like too vanilla for this.
Maya Rudolph was on the last season of a Good Place.
I love
she
Maya
was.
Rudolph.
Yeah, she was the judge in that.
Kristen Bell is just like. Yeah. It's just like too vanilla. It's very California. She looks like everyone in California. Maybe that's why.
Do you put her and Amy Poehler in the same sort of category?
No.
Like
Amy Poehler's a goat.
Who?
They kind of Amy Poehler. She's
and who?
And Christian Bell. I kind of put them in
Kristen
the same
Bell.
sort of. Kristen Bell.
You think Christian Bale?
I thought it was Christian.
This is like when you
Christian
screamed
Bale.
at me about Nelson Mandela for 45 minutes and Mandela. I'm like, you're a racist. I'm like, I'm not. All right.
You're a racist.
Getting his name wrong.
Yeah.
I asked a question about what that phrase was in reference to.
I think Maya Rudolph is extremely underrated.
She's really.
Yeah, she plays
great,
Kamala Harris right on SNL now, right?
Yeah,
Does she? I don't know.
Yeah, but she's great.
Plug.
And she looks really good in this movie, by the way.
We stop lusting after the actresses. I told you guys I'm not going to do it anymore if you only talk about the beauty of the actors and not the substance.
Oh, we got
Owen Wilson.
I like how she played a hooker that was not like
stereotypically
a hooker with a heart of gold character, like Julia Roberts played. Like Julia Roberts played, and it's like, oh, but it makes you forget, like, you know, she humanized. It was human. It was a very human character.
Yeah.
I love what was it? Upgrade. You know, shout out Upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, I can't stand Pretty Woman. Like that's one of my least favorite movies.
I don't like that movie.
I really don't like that movie. But
Pygmalion is what it is. Have you seen Pygmalion?
But which movie don't you like?
My Fair Lady.
I hate it.
Yeah, I can't stand it's just a remake of My Fair Lady, which is a remake of Pygmalion, which is a book. But they do it in London, and it's the same situation. It's always about like this poor, poverty-stricken woman who has to move in with a wealthy lech who's like 30 years older than them, and they have to do it. But they fall in love with it. It's like a daddy baby fucking fantasy, isn't it?
But yeah,
sugar baby fantasy.
In this movie, she's not technically a good person. She scams this dude immediately for money,
That's
and it's
so
like
funny.
Surviving.
So
that's
human.
good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what
I can
I'm
wait all
saying.
day for you, girl.
It's a great character. Like I feel like they did a really good job of humanizing her. Have you seen Poor Things, the recent Emma Stone film with
You know I love Poor Things.
They do a really good job of presenting sex work in that film as well. I feel like Idiocracy, like surprisingly, I
want time to see Poor Things.
No, I'm not going to see that fucking cluster.
I thought
it's so good. It's so the best movie. It's so
that
fun.
Subject matter is fucking.
Does it
weird.
bring back PTSD? Does it bring back PTSD from your college years? That's how you supported yourself, right?
Come on, time.
Emma Stone, Dark BMX. I want to shout out the chat and our guest from last week, Dark BMXers. He's coming to Santa Barbara. We're going to TwitchCon, and he said somebody's name, Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
What do you think about Emma Stone? Time? She's a redhead, isn't she?
No,
isn't that like what part of your?
She's not naturally redhead.
That's why you don't like her.
It'd be natural. It'd be natural.
Passing as a redhead. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Emma Stone is overrated.
What about that movie when she was in Hawaii? When she played the Asian American character? How did you feel about that?
movie was
She
on
played a Japanese. Yeah, she played a Japanese. Okay, she played a Japanese person in a movie. Emma Stone did, and
Japanese?
I don't know.
I thought she was playing a Hawaiian person. Yeah, she plays Hawaiian.
I read it was a Japanese Hawaiian individual. I don't know. God bless Emma.
She hated it.
You're good with me. Poor thing, she won Best Actor because she's probably the best actor in the world right now, pound for pound.
How do you know
you haven't seen it?
What's really funny
Don't
about
shake
that?
Your head at me.
What's really funny about that movie Aloha is that like in an interview Emma Stone talked about when she was in a restaurant with her and Cameron Crowe, who's the director, and they were talking to each other. And apparently Ellen walked into the restaurant.
Come onto the podcast to explain why that movie is shit. I like that comment, Chatter.
Chatter.
Oh, which movie, Flame Princess? We'll get back to that, but we're interrupting JC's story, and he's legitimately the host of the show. So please,
I'm
JC.
not the host of the show.
A host.
But
an a-hole.
Yeah. So she was in a restaurant with Cameron Crowe, the director of Aloha, and Ellen came up to her and him and just said, "You're going to make something magical," and then walked off. And then the movie was a pile of shit. It was the worst thing that came out.
Bro.
Ellen DeGeneres?
She's mean to people. Isn't she mean to people?
That's what I heard, yeah.
She's like, did I just get blessed by Ellen? And then
Flame Princess doesn't like poor things.
Ellen? Yeah.
Listen.
Oh my God.
I have a message for Flame Princess. We're going to talk about poor things.
Movie that came out that year. Oh, she doesn't like poor things.
Open the lines.
She's like,
Let's get her on here. Let's get her over
I'll
here.
put her on the show next week.
Take.
She can have my date whenever my next movie.
Mine is next week, bro.
Okay, well after that, when it's mine, I'll give it to her. Unless you want to be a gentleman, of course that would never happen, right, Jason?
We should like.
He just gaslights you right away. Of course you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's like boop boop. Oh, wait a minute, I thought, but then ding dong. No, you're getting pushed. Why don't you take another week off? And it's just, how about we do Flame Princess in Prague at the movies? It's a new show. It's on Channel 9. Flame in Prague.
We should lock Flame in though for a Poor Things.
I tried. She wouldn't let
episode.
All right. Well, then you know what? I know somebody on the show can lock her in. She can have my date.
But she did say
real close to you. Just look right in her eyes, and just be like,
"I had promised that date of what's up, Ketchup.
Don't be a pussy. Don't be a pussy."
I feel like if we did Poor Things, she'd come on. Right?
Come close and
yeah, she said she would.
Yeah, if we did Poor Things, she'd
absolutely.
Come on, right?
I would love to have her on. Also, I have a new show premiering tomorrow, JC, about underground psychedelic music. It's called Your Dad Might Like This. It's on Twitch. It's with What's Up, Ketchup.
How many shows are you doing?
I have 2 more shows I'm cooking, so I'm going to have 5 shows.
Christ.
You're gonna show every day.
Why do we not have the e-girl tag on this channel? Like, what's going on?
I agree.
We need the e-girl tag immediately. Immediately.
I'll add it on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ego.
I feel underrepresented here.
There we go.
I feel like I'm not seen.
The question is, why don't you have any shows, JC? It's not why do you have so many shows?
I have one show, and it's
my
you baby.
Do? Oh, I keep forgetting.
The one we're on currently.
It wasn't your baby last Saturday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was not feeling well last Saturday.
Didn't you just say you didn't want this community to fight? You said that like an hour ago.
Who said that? Me.
He knows I'm joking. He knows I'm teasing him. I love but the same thing can happen to any of us. If I have to get sick, if I get sick or something, we just fill in. We'll have a fill in.
Nombies,
no.
Do you have any?
JC, we love you. You listen.
Hold on. Let me host this show. Let me host this show.
Hold on.
All right.
Nombies, do you have any final thoughts on Idiocracy? Would you recommend it? What would you rate it?
I recommend it to a lot of people because I feel like it's something you can either have in the background and still be enjoyable. It's something you can sit down, watch, and it's still enjoyable. It's a very, very approachable film. If you meet somebody, out there in the world that you don't really know and be like, hey, yeah, what movie do you recommend? And just be like, I think they might like it, not knowing anything about like what movies they like and whatnot. If they like documentaries, it has that feel to it. It's fiction, so it's down that route. It's funny. I would definitely recommend it for people. It's something I like to, recommend myself to other people. Another movie I like Drive with Ryan Gosling, gorgeous.
Beautiful,
great movie.
Yeah,
phenomenal. I love the soundtrack in that movie. It's just awesome.
It's a great one.
if you want to come back and talk about it, I'd be so hyped to do that.
You guys are scheduled deep though, so like what? I'd probably get in like
Jason.
late November or something.
Week.
Like
we're scheduled deep, but we do have the option to switch or like swap out our week for someone else.
Hey, guess what? You know what? We can have an episode on Tuesdays too because we proved that's week. This is our second episode of the week. If we want to do more and extra things, we have time. I can do it. I'll be here, or you guys.
There's also Sundays as well, so you can do like.
No, there's no Sunday. I have a show on Sunday.
You have a show on Sunday?
Friday, Ghost Monsters Live. Saturday, 3 grandmas yapping about movies. Sunday, your dad might like this. The new show with Lance. Another show I'm cooking with SV about reality shows. We're gonna have a show about reality shows.
Oh,
not on Sunday. I'm just going down my list. I have 2 open days, 2 to 3 open slots.
And you have a full-time job as well.
And I get up at 4 in the morning, and I stop working at 4 p.m.
He's going to do a show with Lance, and then we're going to cancel it after 2 episodes.
I get a strong 4-hour nap in the afternoon. Don't worry, guys.
What would you rate Idiocracy out of 10? 100, sorry.
100. Out of 10?
100.
Out of 100.
100?
Yeah.
69.
Hey, we did it!
Yeah, boy.
Bye, everyone. Good night. Good night. Have a nice trip.
We're done. Time. Would you recommend Idiocracy? What would you rate it?
Yes, I would recommend it. And I would rate it probably a 73.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's good. Prag, what would you rate it? What would you recommend it?
I give this movie. I like this movie more than I should. I give it an 80. I just think it shows you what you can do underpowered. Like if you have enough talent, like Mike Judge does, and the cinematographer and the actors, the principals, the casting was right, and with a good script and a good cast, and if the writer has the power to cast and direct, right, writer, director, producer, you can make a excellent movie. So I love it. I love it, and I love. We haven't really watched a straight up comedy yet, and I love that we did a comedy.
That is true.
And I miss I miss movie comedies like the old days of the classic golden era.
They can't do comedies anymore. You know, everyone's gonna get canceled. You know.
Listen,
you're right.
Cancel these nuts.
Oh, Jesus!
Couldn't make this movie today.
Couldn't.
This
one
definitely
couldn't.
Yes, you could. This one you could. You could make this one
why? Because we're living in it. That's why.
Yeah.
No, this one. I think this one you could. There's some you can't, but then there are ones that could, and you know, it's like Blazing Saddles would be tough. That would be a tough one to make because there's a lot of crazy verb. I know. Listen, that was a family favorite of ours because the risks that it took and the bravery of Mel Brooks, who also made a comedy about the Nazis and the Holocaust, and like he was fearless. And we love Mel Brooks here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Young Frankenstein. If you've never seen
this film, I 100% will recommend this film as well. It feels like it's one of those films. It feels like one of those films that's in the category of like Tropic Thunder.
See, I didn't fuck with Tropic
That was
Thunder.
on the list. That was on the list too.
Was it on the list?
I don't. I have to see it again. Maybe that one caught me like it caught you. It might have caught me like I may have seen it when I was in a grumpy mood or something. But everyone says it's so great, and I'm like, I don't know. I have to watch it again.
Yeah.
Tropic Thunder.
There was funny bits. I like Ben Stiller.
Shaun of the Dead. You know those hit comedies that just come out.
See, that's another one.
Shaun of the Dead.
I'm not crazy about Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Am I fucked up?
You're crazy.
I don't know. I want to watch it again. I want to like it. I want to like it. I don't know.
It's not as good. I'll say this.
No! Stop bullying me. All right,
I'll say this. It's not as good as the other two in the trilogy, Hot Fuzz and The World's End, but I do love Shaun.
What?
God, here we go.
I love Hot
Bing
Fuzz.
Bing, round 2.
Hot Fuzz is great. World's End is not as good.
I love World's End.
That's the worst of the trilogy.
I disagree. No,
wow.
I love it. Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's the second best behind Hot Fuzz.
Wow.
Families fight, chat. Families fight. It's proof.
But I do like it more than Shaun of the Dead. Yeah.
Crazy.
But yeah, it feels like one of those comedies that just kind of slips under the radar. And there's been other comedies that has been recommended to me that I didn't like. Like I didn't like Step Brothers. Unfortunately,
You're crazy.
I love Step Brothers.
You are literally
like
Jesus Christ! I'm leaving.
What?
Podcast. I quit.
John C. Reilly, bro,
Yeah.
is a perfect actor in my book.
And
he's probably my favorite comedian.
And a lot of people recommended me MacGruber with
MacGruber's so fucking
that's
good.
another banger.
I didn't
so
like
good.
MacGruber.
But then I don't like Shaun of the Dead, so it's like, but then you think I'm funny, so then am I not funny too? That's why. That's where I get concerned, because then it's like, if you just
so fucking good. God damn it!
I don't get it. I just did not. I didn't.
Oh my
fuck
god!
With
God
it.
damn it!
But it's absurdist. That's why. I mean, it's an absurdist.
It was to the degree that I just like this one rode the line. That one went.
We can review it.
Yeah, listen, I'd be happy to review MacGruber, but
we should make a list of comedies that JC doesn't fuck with that we only watch on Tuesdays. Maybe just on Tuesdays we do that.
So what about this would make it you more inclined to share with somebody versus not? Like, what about this makes this like 100%? I would totally share this with people.
It feels like a surprise. Like, it feels like you're watching it and you're like, okay, this premise is pretty good, and then like one scene happens and it's just like it locks you in. Like, it's just hilarious from then on.
The writing, that's why, right?
Probably the doctor, I think.
The hospital, yeah.
Do you like Benny Hill? JC, can I ask you a question? Do you like Benny Hill? Have you ever seen Benny Hill stuff? You're too young for that, right?
Yeah, too young for that.
Do you like Monty Python?
I love Monty Python, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
if
Monty
you see
Python's
Benny
great.
Hill, because I look at Hot Fuzz like Benny Hill, and I look at some of these other things like Monty Python, and they're just like trying to tickle a different, and they're both funny and great.
Yeah.
Like Black Adder, and I'm just looking at the British comedy world, and I'm saying, I'm trying to I can figure out.
Mr. Bean.
It's more slapstick. It's more like visual comedy. It's more Ronan Atkinson.
Those hell racist.
See, if you like Ronan Atkinson, if you like Mr. Bean, you have to check out Black Adder. Black Adder is the best version of Ronan Atkinson. It's a period piece where he's like in a medieval, like it's kind of like Game of Thrones, but a comedy version of the throne room, if that makes sense. But it's really funny. It's much funnier than it should be. Not that old, chat. Stop saying I'm 97. That's not cool.
This film also, not even that. Like, this film even reminds me of other like sci-fi comedies like RoboCop and Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers, hilarious. Galaxy Quest.
I love Starship Troopers.
If you've seen Galaxy Quest, it reminds me of that as well.
That's great ones.
Yeah, I haven't seen Spaceballs yet. I still need to. I've heard it's really
I'm not
good.
crazy about Spaceballs, to be perfectly honest.
Sir.
Look, I'm young.
Sir.
I'm 26. Give me a break.
Okay.
Give me a break. Yeah.
I'm 26 too, so what?
No, you're not. Get out of here.
Yeah, I am. I feel like
Bullshit.
I'm 27.
You're like
he
80.
feels it. It's different.
Oh, God.
All right. But this has been fun talking about Idiocracy. Next week,
we're trying to get affiliate. We have to pump up these fucking numbers, baby. We have to get a little crazy out here.
Bubba baby.
I still want to talk about the Acolyte with time, because I know we're going to have a lot of thoughts about that. But
Season 2, it's coming.
No, it's not.
I didn't know you guys had a secret. Did we talk about the Acolyte? You guys talking about the Acolyte together?
We talk about it like every week.
Yeah, we say we're going to do that every week.
You know what I like? I saw the first episode of the second season of The Rings of Power on Amazon, and this is for Dark BMX. Give it another shot, because I think they really did.
Give it another shot,
because he doesn't like it because it's not canon. The first season was trash. Check out the first episode, because I like some of the storytelling elements.
I was
and I think it was beautifully. I think they did a better job. I think they took the notes, and I don't know if the rest of the season's good, but I think the first episode was it's like short too. It's like it's a banger. I love it.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
It's about Sauron and the genesis of Sauron, but from his perspective and like in a clever way. And I thought it was cool.
But that reveal in the first season was awful.
Listen, I wasn't happy with the first season, and I'm just a Tolkien head, and I want to see it, even though I know I won't like it. All the time.
I hope I enjoy it.
Enemy Charlie.
So, what's really funny, like when I saw this film, like the most recent, like Idiocracy, that means, like when I was like, we had storms out where I live, and they had and like right as soon as the film kind of ended, like my power flickered, and then my power went out, which I thought was really funny. I'm just like, dude, typical, like, cause remember they had like weird, like rolling blackout things that went on, and I'm just like, dude, it's already starting. Here we go. Here we go. The world's upon us. I actually had a feeling like that once. My first job, I worked as a projectionist in a movie theater. This is like circa like 2000, 2001 when I started doing that. And me and the guy there, because it was on two wings, and so there's two projectionists, so we'd always go and view the films like a day early, because this is back in where you get the whole like big ass reel, and you'd have to spline it onto one of the things that could rotate some of these big ass dishes, so you'd have all that shit set up. And we went and viewed The Ring, like when that first came out, and it was kind of a similar thing. Like the movie ended, we went, finished up the reel and put it back so that the next day when the next dude comes in, you can just roll it right in the camera and start going. And as we're coming down the staircase, all the power in the entire area went out. I guess there was like an accident or something that blew like one of the transformers, right? And like we're in like the upper back area. Yeah, dude.
That's the wrong movie.
No, that was The Grudge. That was The Grudge.
Just let me cook, JC. What's the rule? Let Prag cook, right? Let Prag cook.
But it was like a monsoon that was happening that day, right? And there was nobody out. There was no power anywhere. It was like 1:30 in the morning. Like I just got done watching The Ring. I'm a high schooler at this point. Getting in my Ford Ranger, like.
Was it the Japanese version or the?
No, it was the American version.
American version, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a similar story about The Ring. I watched The Ring one night with my friends. It was I think it was my birthday or something. I was like 16 or something. They all went home. I went to bed, and then at like 2 a.m, the TV turned on. Like the static, it was all static, like in the Ring movie. Like it actually happened. Our big TV turned on in the middle of the night with all the static. It was so creepy.
When I was driving home, what I thought was really weird, because this is back in the days of like pager and like really shitty block, Nokia phones, and I had gotten and like when this all went down, I got a page, and the page just came up star 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 star. Which I thought was just like kind of peculiar, because like every once in a while those would kind of pop up, which it's just peculiar that happened at the same time.
What do you mean
like on a pager, like it would say page, and it would have the number, and the number just came up was just 10 stars. And I was just like, what is this?
Gotta throw it in the ocean.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It was the parents thing. I think they might still have it. I'm not sure, but and then like I remember my cell phone just wouldn't work. Like I just couldn't. It was like the cell tower or something was like dead. But I'd try and like make a call, and it just make it unavailable in the middle of metropolitan area. It should work right now.
Did you ever write with the numbers on your pager? Like make the little one sentence or one message you could with numbers if they hold it upside down.
Like hello,
yeah. So you can take like the number 69,222,51, and then you multiply times 8, and it says boobless.
Bro, pagers were the best, because you could have a leisurely time returning a page, but now phones, everyone knows where everyone is, and it's like I love a pager because you were still available, but it was and I always thought that on vibrate too. You can't have your pager making noises. And then if you had jeans,
one vibration setting too.
You would put like the jeans on the corner. You would put your pager like on the inside of the pocket, but then the little clip part on those Motorola pagers went outside your jeans. So dorky.
Yeah. I remember the days. So I was talking about this with my buddy. So we used to carry. So you'd carry around a cell phone that is like, I don't know, this the size of like the current cell phone that we have, but it had the regular dialing numbers. You had the dial with the text with T9, doing that. Yeah. So you'd have a cell phone. You'd have your You would have your iPod for your music with headphones. Yeah. If you would have your pager, you'd have a wallet. You'd have a set of keys. You would have a
lot of stuff.
Dude, like a camera, if you want to have a camera, the disposables, or the ones.
Camera, I have to bring a camera too. No, forget about it. I was just bringing my keys in my wallet. Maybe a page.
Rest in peace, Steve Jobs.
Those are the days, dude.
Steve's watching from heaven. Hi, Steve. Steve watches Three Grandmas Yapping.
Absolutely.
From heaven. For sure. I like to think so.
For sure.
MP3 players. Remember when like the big thing they carry around?
No, we're not talking about Zune right now. Remember Zune when Microsoft went after Apple with Zune? It was like, as in, I would never use that fucking Zune.
It's good. It's good. So next week, it's my pick.
No. Why don't you take the next week off?
No,
I was getting used to that.
I'm here.
What if it's just a Prag show and it's just my show and I just like have you as a guest?
You have enough.
Would that be fun?
What do you guys have planned for next week?
So it's just us next week. It's my pick. So I was looking at like stuff that came out recently. Yeah, I'm getting to it.
We're gonna get there, buddy.
I was looking at stuff that was coming out like trailer wise next week recently, and they released that trailer for the new Bob Dylan film, A Complete Unknown, with Timothy Chalamet, and I mean, it's probably going to be like a standard biopic. I don't imagine it'll be that groundbreaking, but I will say I was incredibly shocked with how accurate he sounded in the trailer, like his singing voice.
Right.
I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan. I love his music.
Okay.
It means a lot to me. So I picked Todd Haynes' "I'm Not There," which is
that's a great one.
Which is Heath Ledger's final film released while he was alive. It's an interesting biopic because it has like 8 different actors playing Bob Dylan.
Is it Kate Blanchett in it or something?
Kate Blanchett plays Bob Dylan. Christian Bale plays Bob Dylan. Heath Ledger plays Bob Dylan.
Todd Haynes. People might know who he is. You want to tell people about him?
Yeah, Todd Haynes. He's a queer director. He directed May
He's a what director?
Queer. He's queer. LGBTQ. Yeah.
Queer.
Okay.
Yeah, he made a movie called Carol. He's made a lot of films. Velvet Goldmine.
Yeah, right.
Dark Water.
He won an Oscar, didn't he? Though.
Oh, absolutely.
Did he win an Oscar?
Yeah. He was nominated for Dark Waters. I don't know if that was nominated for Best Picture. What's really funny is that Bob Dylan, like, because they realized that Bob Dylan, like, the way that he approached this film is that Bob Dylan's public personas, they don't match at all. Like, there's no consistency with the way that he presented himself in public. So he decided to get different actors to play different parts of his life. And then Heath Ledger's actual final film, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, which is a Terry Gilliam film.
Yeah.
He didn't finish recording everything that he did, so they ended up doing the same thing for that and getting different actors to play that part as well. It was just a weird kind of irony that happened there, I feel like. Like his last film that he made when he was alive was different actors playing Bob Dylan. And
right.
And then his final film, which he didn't finish, they got different actors to play that same part that he didn't finish. Just a kind of funny irony. But that's the reason why.
Have you seen Todd Haynes' Karen Carpenter story?
No. That's
a banger. That's the movie that made him, because that's an inverted horror movie. Because if you don't know who Karen Carpenter is, it was a brother and sister soft rock team in like the 70s, the Carpenters, but then she got famous and then she just starved herself to death publicly, though.
Jesus.
So it's a very disturbing movie if that's a trigger for people, but it's also an amazing movie that they made, because it's a scary movie. The way he filmed it and stuff, and the way if you listen to the Carpenter's music, it's kind of like unintentionally horror movie music. So I recommend people check out Todd Haynes, and Velvet Goldmine was great too. Yeah. About glam era, right?
And his most recent film, May December, like blew me away. It's one of my favorite
No
films.
Place Like Heaven is a movie he made too that was really good. Or Nothing Like Heaven or something like that.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't recall.
And I've seen I'm Not There before, but I wanted to watch it again because I hadn't seen it in a while, and
right. I don't
think they need to make another biopic of Bob Dylan. I think this one's.
That's why I was surprised when I saw the trailer for that. I was like, really?
They've already made one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But his voice sounds incredible in the trailer, so we'll see how it goes. But I don't. I
love Bob Dylan. I love it.
So that's my pick. Hope you
and
guys
folks at home, if you're playing at home, you can watch it free on Pluto, and you can watch it free on Tubi as well. And it's $4 essentially from Google or Apple.
I've got it on Blu-ray, so
JC has it on Blu-ray.
I got it on
Depends on
Blu-ray.
your budget, chatters. Watch it with us and be here in the chat.
Have you seen I'm Not There?
I have not.
Nombies?
I haven't seen it.
I was asking Nombies.
Oh,
I have not. I have not.
You don't have to talk to Time.
Have not?
I have not.
I'm looking
I
forward
don't know
to
Bob Dylan that well, to be honest.
Okay.
Check it out. He's one of the greatest writers of all time. Oh shit! It's starting on my phone. See what happens? I pressed the Prime. I'm not there. I added it to my Amazon queue, and it just started playing. Why don't we just all watch it here? I'll just put it up here like this, and we'll just. Is this legal?
Yeah.
Like I could hold it that for a minute, right?
Oh yeah. I can
And we're
see
just
that.
we're just commenting over it, right? Like we'll be
We're
fine.
adding commentary.
That's totally cool.
Yeah.
Commentary.
Put
Yeah.
the trailer.
Yeah.
We can pause it every now and then, to get a synopsis. We can talk about our feelings and emotions and like what's kind of going through our,
I
minds,
love
bodies,
talking about
souls,
my
and
emotions
buttholes at that point in time. And
I'll talk about my
We
feelings all
really
afternoon if
connect.
you let me. I'll connect with all four of you. I'll kiss you on the mouth when I see you.
Are you a Dylan fan, Tom?
I bet you won't. No, I hate Dylan.
I'll grab you.
Dylan. Oh,
I know how to grab you and kiss you.
I think
Don't worry.
Bob Dylan is just like it's funny that Timothy Chalamet's playing him because they're
What is it? He
they're
just said
fucking
no.
overrated.
Like, no, he's overrated.
Both overrated.
Oh my
We're gonna have a long episode next
He's
Saturday
one of the
because
greatest
we're gonna
writers
talk
of all
about it.
time.
He's
That's
not.
He
great.
doesn't.
He's
You have
not.
to listen. You have to read it. You have to.
He's-
Bob Dylan is not. You can listen to it, but you really have to read the
He's
words.
just like that the other fucking guy. What's up? Springsteen, overrated.
Well, then why don't you
I
write a
don't
beautiful
love- I don't
record
love
like that
Springsteen.
if it's so easy?
Bob Dylan's gorgeous.
Just like
His
Genesis.
on
writing
time.
is just-
Don't
up
you
or shut
fucking
up.
say Genesis?
That's just-
Bitch.
Don't you keep
It's Rob.
Peter Gabriel's
Rob.
fucking name out of
Shut
your
up.
Dude,
mouth?
Peter Gabriel was
That's
Rob.
so
Genesis is
crazy.
banging.
Should
Chat.
have been the rock star. Peter Gabriel should have been the rock star.
He's a rock star, though.
Oh, don't
That's the
suck.
beautiful
He
thing
had a
about
great
Genesis is they're
solo
both
career.
the rock star. They elevated one another to supernova status. When on the
Watch-
top times,
Gabriel had an
Peter
incredible
Gabriel and
song about
Genesis
it.
had records on the top 10 Billboard at the same time.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Three Grandmas podcast. This has been incredible talk about Idiocracy. We covered so many topics on here. Boing, boing.
We did it.
I'll see you later, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us, Nombies. It's been a pleasure.
My mouse isn't connected. Hold
My
on.
pleasure.
Okay,
Thank you very
bye.
much.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Nombies.
Bye.
That's gonna